The amazing transformation of history's most brutal emperor. What if I told you that history's most bloodthirsty emperor suddenly stopped mid-conquest, threw down his sword, and became one of the world's greatest advocates for peace? And what if I told you that this transformation happened after his most devastating victory, not his worst defeat? I'm talking about Ashoka the Great, a man who ruled over 40 million people 200-300 years ago, and whose story will completely change how you think about redemption, power, and the human capacity for change. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll discover the single moment that transformed a mass murderer into a saint and why this ancient story might be more relevant to your life. Let me paint you a picture of pure terror. Imagine an emperor so ruthless that he killed his own brothers to claim the throne, a man whose army swept across India like a plague, leaving nothing but ash and broken families in their wake. For 8 years, Ashoka was unstoppable. His empire stretched from Afghanistan to Bangladesh, that's roughly the size of the entire European Union, conquered by sword and spear. But here's what made him different from other tyrants. Ashoka was methodical. He didn't just conquer, he perfected the art of conquest. His war machine was so efficient that entire kingdoms would surrender at the mere mention of his name. Ancient records tell us he displaced over 150 people and killed more than 100 soldiers in just one campaign. To put that in perspective, that's like wiping out a modern city the size of Cambridge or Hartford in a single battle. But something was happening to Ashoka that no one, not his generals, not his advisors, not even Ashoka himself saw coming. The more he conquered, the more something inside him began to crack. Visual. Kalinga battlefield, rivers of blood, devastation. The year was 261 BCE. The place, Kalinga, in eastern India. This was supposed to be Ashoka's crowning achievement, the conquest that would complete his empire. The battle was apocalyptic. When the dust settled, Ashoka stood victorious over the bloodiest battlefield ancient India had ever seen. His generals celebrated. His empire cheered. But Ashoka walked through the carnage, and something extraordinary happened. For the first time in his life, this master of war truly saw what war meant. Not the glory, not the territory, not the power, but the broken bodies of young soldiers, the tears of mothers searching for their sons, the silence where laughter used to be. And in that moment of absolute victory, Emperor Ashoka, conqueror of nations, master of millions, broke down and wept. But here's the part that will blow your mind. Instead of hiding this moment of weakness, Ashoka did something unprecedented in human history. He carved his remorse into stone for all eternity. His exact words, "The slaughter, death, and deportation of people is extremely grievous and weighs heavily on the mind." When has any ruler in history publicly confessed to the horror of their own victories? But this was just the beginning of Ashoka's transformation. What happened next defies everything we know about power-hungry rulers. Ashoka didn't just feel bad, he completely revolutionized his empire overnight. He converted to Buddhism and immediately banned animal sacrifice across his vast territory. He established the world's first hospitals, not just for humans, but for animals too. He planted medicinal herbs, dug wells, and built roads for the common people. But get this, he sent ambassadors to Greece, Egypt, and Syria, not with armies, but with a message of peace and non-violence. This brutal conqueror became history's first emperor to spread a message of universal compassion across continents. His transformation was so complete that he's now remembered not as Ashoka the Conqueror, but as Ashoka the Great. Think about this. A man who built his identity on violence completely rewrote his life's purpose in a single moment of clarity. In our age of "that's just who I am" excuses, Ashoka proved that no one is beyond redemption. Now here's why this 200-300-year-old story matters to you today. We live in a world that tells us people can't change, that our past defines our future, that transformation is impossible. Ashoka's story destroys that lie completely. If a mass-murdering emperor could become a beacon of compassion, what's stopping you from becoming who you're meant to be? If someone who destroyed lives could dedicate his remaining years to healing and helping others, what transformation is possible in your own life? The most powerful lesson from Ashoka isn't about ancient histories, about the infinite potential for change that exists within every human being, including you. Ashoka's transformation didn't happen by accident. It happened because he had the courage to face the truth about himself and choose differently. If this story inspired you or challenged how you think about change and redemption, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below. What's one thing about yourself you've always wanted to transform but thought was impossible? And if you're hungry for more incredible stories of transformation that will challenge everything you believe about human potential, kindly subscribe to our channel. If Ashoka's story moved you, share this with someone who needs to hear that change is possible. And I'll see you in the next one.